Henry Gantt developed his chart back in 1910. He was managing production lines, factories, machinery, predictable operations, fixed sequences of steps. The tool was perfect for its time. That was over 100 years ago. The world has changed. We now have product teams, sprints, constantly shifting requirements, and the Agile Manifesto. Projects have become living things. They evolve as you go. They don't just travel on rails from point A to point B. And yet, the Gantt chart never went away. People still build them in Jira, Notion, MS Project, Excel, and even on whiteboards. Why? Because in certain situations, it's still the best tool available. But there's a trap. A Gantt chart assumes you know everything up front. What needs to be done, in what order, and how long each step will take. If your project works that way, it's a great fit. But if requirements are changing and the scope is getting refined as you go, a detailed Gantt chart turns into a beautifully formatted fantasy. I've been through this myself. At a product company I worked at, the marketing manager would come up with ideas for improving the product and then build the Gantt himself. He'd invent the tasks, set the deadlines, present it all nicely to leadership, and then he'd walk into the IT department and demand delivery. The developers couldn't hit the dates. Of course they couldn't. Nobody had asked them how long things would actually take. Everyone ended up frustrated. Leadership, the marketing manager, the team. But the tool wasn't the problem. The problem was who used it and how. That's exactly what we're going to break down today. Where a Gantt chart actually helps, where it creates an illusion of control, and how to use it so it works for you, not against you. Let's start with the basics. A Gantt chart is a visual planning tool. The horizontal axis is time. The vertical axis is tasks or project phases.
Each task is shown as a bar, with a start, an end, and a duration. If one task depends on another, there's an arrow connecting them. It looks simple at first, and that simplicity is exactly what makes it so popular. You look at the chart and immediately see what's running in parallel and what's sequential. You also see where the critical dependencies are and whether the project is on track to hit the deadline. There are 3 things a Gantt shows better than any other tool. First, the full project timeline. Not a list of tasks, but an actual picture from start to finish. Second, dependencies between tasks. Who's waiting on whom? And what will block the project if one phase slips? Third, load over time. When the pressure peaks, where the bottlenecks are, where the team has slack. That's why a Gantt works so well with leadership and clients. You don't need to explain, you just show. One look at the chart and it's clear where the project stands and where it's heading. But here's the nuance. A Gantt shows the plan well. It doesn't show reality, not unless you keep it updated. And it doesn't work at all in situations where you can't build the plan up front. That's what the next blocks are about. So, where does a Gantt chart actually work well? Not everywhere, but in the right conditions, it's genuinely the best tool you've got. First condition, the project is linear. There's a clear sequence of phases. Each one follows the previous, and that sequence won't change midway. Construction, manufacturing, launching a marketing campaign with a fixed date, all of this maps well onto a Gantt. So, second condition, requirements are known up front. Not roughly understood, but actually locked in. The scope is defined and changes aren't expected. Or changes are tightly controlled through a formal process. In projects like this, a Gantt isn't just a pretty picture, it actually drives the process. Third condition, There's a hard external deadline. An event, a regulatory requirement, a contractual delivery date. When the finish line is fixed and can't move, a Gantt helps you work backwards from the deadline to today and see where you have buffer and where you don't. And there's one more scenario where a Gantt is irreplaceable: communicating with leadership and clients. Even if your team works differently internally, a Gantt remains the best way to show project status to people who aren't in the details. One slide, and everything's clear without any explanation needed. Now, for the other side. And here I want to come back to the story I told at the beginning, because it perfectly shows how a Gantt chart can go from a planning tool to a pressure tool. The marketing manager built the tasks and timelines himself, without the team, without estimation, without any understanding of technical complexity. The Gantt looked convincing. Leadership approved it. And then that plan arrived in the IT department as a commitment, not a proposal, a fact. And when the team missed the dates, the developers got the blame, even though the only real problem was that the plan was built by someone who had no idea what the work actually involved. That's the first and most common mistake: a Gantt built without the team. But there are other situations where it simply doesn't fit the nature of the project. Agile and iterative development. If the team's working in sprints and priorities shift, a detailed 6-month Gantt doesn't make sense. You'll draw it, it'll be outdated in 3 weeks. Research and creative projects, where the outcome isn't known up front, design, R&D, content, a Gantt doesn't work because you can't estimate what you've never done before. Fast-changing context. If external conditions are unstable, the market, regulatory requirements, business priorities, the plan will go stale faster than you can update it. All of these cases share one common thread. A Gantt requires certainty. Without it, it's not planning. It's the illusion of planning. And the danger isn't the tool itself. It's that this illusion reassures the people making decisions, which is exactly why nobody raises the alarm until it's too late. All right, we've covered where a Gantt works and where it lies. Now the most important part: how to use it so it actually helps. 3 rules. Simple ones, but these are exactly the ones people break most often. Rule 1: build the plan with your team. Not for the team, not instead of the team, with them. The people doing the work are the ones who should be estimating it. That's the only way a Gantt reflects reality, instead of someone's expectations. Rule 2: keep it alive. If you drew the plan at the start of the project and never touched it again, that's not a management tool. That's an artifact. Update it regularly, at minimum once a week, ideally after every significant change. A task closed ahead of schedule? Update it. A phase slipped by 3 days? Update it. Rule 3: don't plan in detail too far ahead. Task-level planning makes sense for a 2 to 4 week horizon. Beyond that, stick to major phases and milestones. A detailed plan 6 months out will be rewritten several times before you even get there. That's time spent without any real value. And one last thing. Always maintain 2 levels: an internal Gantt for the team, detailed, live, updated constantly, and an external Gantt for leadership and clients, major phases, key milestones, no unnecessary detail. These are different audiences, and they need different levels of information. Let's wrap up. A Gantt chart isn't an outdated tool, and it isn't a silver bullet either. It's a tool with a specific area of application. It works great in linear projects with fixed requirements and hard deadlines. It's irreplaceable for communicating with leadership and clients. But in Agile, in research projects, and anywhere the plan changes faster than it gets updated, it creates the illusion of control, not actual control. 3 rules if you're going to use it. First, build the plan with your team. Second, update it regularly. A dead Gantt is worse than no Gantt. Third, don't plan in detail beyond 4 weeks out. And one question for you. Do you use a Gantt in your projects? Where does it help, and where have you moved away from it? Drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious, and stories from real practice are valuable for everyone watching this channel. In the next video, we'll cover the roadmap, the Gantt's older sibling for communicating with the business. What makes it different, when you actually need it, and how to put one together in 30 minutes. See you there!